everybody, it's Dan, and welcome back to Nocones Garage. On this episode, we're going to cut away some more of the body, we're going to finish the main part of the roll cage, and we're going to work on the bottom plane of the chassis. For the cage on this car, I decided to run the forward tubes to the A-pillar and then down to the floor. Several different options are allowed for the front hoop tubes by the sanctioning bodies I'm planning to use the car for, but this option made the most sense for my chassis. The forward down tubes were made using the same process as the main hoop. The template bend was placed against the body structure and measurements were made to replicate in steel. The tubes were notched and a small bend was placed near the main hoop to give a little more helmet clearance. Got the forward tubes done. The main part of the cage is it's not finished. Obviously, it's not welded together, and I don't have all the tubes fabricated. But the 4 landing spots of the main cage are complete. So the next step is going to be to finish the bottom of the chassis in the middle, so we can weld together these joints in the rear to get plates put on, so we can lift up. We'll cut the roll cage off, set it back on top of plates. That way it's at the final height before we start doing the rest of the roll cage tube, fitting the harness bar, the crossbar, and then working on the sidebars. Bottom of the chassis, I'm going to have a tube running horizontally until a point that makes sense about where the harnesses will mount, where the tube will kick up to join this. So the considerations I got to make through this area is I got to have harnesses. I need to have some tubes running from up by the shoulder down to where the harnesses are going to mount, just to give that node some reinforcement. And then I'll have the horizontal tubes that'll make up the rough shape of the seat, because the seat's going to basically be built in. Then in that space I also have to fit the gas tank. So the tank I've modeled is a ATL bladder for a formula car. This one's a 7.5 gallon. They make a 5 gallon version of the same dimensions. So with that tank in, it's got to be completely in front of the roll hoop, just because I'm going to have the crossbar, so it really won't be able to tuck behind the roll hoop at all. The tank has an outlet on the right, or the inlet, sorry, is on the left side of the tank. So I'll probably have the fuel filler, just a simple neck to get a hole right up here. So it looks like if I put the front area right about here, where the kick-up is, that'll work with where I want the lowest point of the seat to be, and that's also right about where your hips sit in the seat. I've cut a tube to the longest dimension, so it's, you know, this is going to be at an angle, so it's at the farthest out portion of the angle. So this tube will actually get installed right like this. So what I do is I take a piece of masking tape that matches the width of the tube. This is 2-inch tube, 2-inch tape. You can get tape in you know, most increments that you'd likely use. And I just stretch it out and I put it where I want the tube to go. And just make sure it's nice and flat. And then we just take a razor blade and very carefully cut the masking tape off. And then stick it onto the tube. And so then if I cut that pattern in both ends, the tube will fit right in place. If you have a tube that's 2 dimensions, 2 angles, you can handle each side independently. So you just cut the 2 ends, and it fits right in. This one's flat, so we can use the same template on both sides. So just do it again. And both sides of the foot box, both side rails done. We got the 3 central rails done. You can see the kind of angle piece at the top. It closes out the end and has the angle. And so now we'll get them prepped for welding. Now that the base plane's all welded up and we've got the tubes ready, we want to go in and put some plates underneath the main tubes where they intersect. That's not required by any of the sanctioning bodies. However, it adds a little bit of safety, and with this being 4130 and these being mild steel, the plate I have is 4130 as well. So all of the roll cage welds will be 4130 to 4130, and then I'll do the welds on these plates, which will be quite a bit longer, will be the multiple metal. this episode. Join me next time as we continue to work on the chassis and try to finish the main roll cage. As always, thanks again for watching. Lined up, ready in place. And it of course doesn't stick because there's oil on this end. We'll just try that again.